The whole world is astonished by the speedy collapse of the Syrian dictatorship in 13 days after 13 years of civil war. Learn how Germany's backing of the rebels caused the collapse of the Syrian government and uncover the sinister reason why Germany chose to intervene. Next on The Key of David with Gerald Flurry.
Greetings, everyone. Cyprus is a member of the European Union, and the president has made the statement that the European superstate should come to save the Middle East. Now, that's from a member of the European Union, led by Germany, dominated by Germany, to be sure. But we have to remember also what Germany has done in the past. They've started two world wars, World War I and World War II. And at the end of World War II, Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt said that they would never, ever allow Germany to rise up with a strong military ever again. Well, I guess we've forgotten all about that, but that's what they said, because Germany has this history of causing wars and having a lot of bloodshed in them. If you think about saving the Middle East, now instead of saving the Middle East, Bible prophecy says that Germany is going to start World War III. And you can see that in our book on the United States and Britain in prophecy. I want to read you a quote. Syria dictator Bashar Assad's government has been overthrown. Russia and Iran are shocked. The whole world has been astonished at how fast these events took place. Rebels were able to do in 13 days what they have not been able to do in more than 13 years. What is happening here? And how is it happening? Well, Germany has something to do with that very significantly. Listen to the commentators, and you see that they not only didn't expect this, but also have no clue what will happen next. Well, Bible prophecy tells us exactly what's going to happen. But the Bible prophesied this drastic change in Syria, and it also reveals what will happen next. So here, Iran is losing Syria to Germany. Who would have thought that? And it's happening right now before our eyes. Something that's really critical to this world. Let me read you another short quote that I made in 2012. That's 12 years ago. Notice this. Bashar Assad will be ousted shortly, but then what? You can actually know the outcome. So the world doesn't really know what's happening in Syria, but we've been writing about it for more than a decade and telling people what was going to happen in Syria. What was going to happen 12 years ago, and yet people today don't know anything about Bible prophecy, it seems. Very few people do. And we ought to know that something is very negative about all of this. Germany kept waiting for Bashar Assad to leave Syria, but then they decided, well, maybe they could hasten this along, and that's what they decided to do. They wanted to have that power, and they saw a way to do a lot more to make it all happen. So most of all, Germany's backing caused Syria's collapse. Now, the Germans are a great people, but they have been hooked into the Holy Roman Empire for 6 different times. They have been bloody, aggressive attacks in every single one of them. And the next one is rising before your eyes, and is going to be far more dangerous and far more bloody than any of the other 6 and probably the other 6 combined. But we see the Holy Roman Empire, number 7, is rising up. That's really what the president of Cyprus is talking about, a European superstate, like it's been in the other 6 eras of that terrible, terrible, damaging, aggressive warfare. Bloody, bloody, bloody every time. And Germany caused the bloodshed. Here's something else I wrote in 2012. I'll read this to you. Turkey has also been allied with Iran, but it too is going to side with Germany in the future. Why? Because it disagrees with what Iran is doing in Syria. While Iran supports the Assad regime, Turkey supports the rebels. That's 2012 again. And how could I possibly know that? Well, here is something else I wrote. Biblical prophecy reveals that very soon Syria will no longer align with Iran. It also shows that Germany will help cause this split. And I tell you this, I want to add something to that. I believe today that Germany's backing is mainly what caused Syria to fall. And I'll show you that as we go along. Here is another comment just 2 months ago. German public broadcaster ZDF reported, quote, Germany and Turkey want to cooperate more closely again after years of restraint in the arms sector. So here, Germany wants very much to get together with Turkey, and of course Turkey would like to have help from Germany because they're helping the rebels in Syria. So both of them thought there would be an advantage here, but it was all really initiated by Germany. One more comment that I'll read you here that we wrote about. Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of Germany, he said this, I have emphasized that we will continue to support Turkey in dealing with the consequences of the Syrian civil war and its high numbers of refugees, both nationally and within the framework of the European Union. So this is all about the European Union, but they want this superstate. Cyprus, the Cyprus president says this, and I think it was prompted by Germany. I don't believe they'd be talking that way without Germany's understanding that should be said. So we'll see about that. But anyhow, the European Union now has 28 nations, and soon they're going to be pared down to 10 kings. That's what your Bible says, 10 kings, and it will be the Holy Roman Empire, number 7. And that's what this world is going to have to face, and Germany is going to force World War III. Joshua Michels assists me at times, and so he wanted to add to what I said about Germany, and that was the quote that I gave you before. And here's what he said. It is interesting that just before Turkey sparked this major uprising in Syria, Germany also started to again approve major arms exports to Turkey. Now that tells you that Germany initiated this, and that caused Turkey to want to spark a civil war over there because they could get armaments from Germany. And Germany has plenty of them. They are one of the greatest exporters of armaments in the world, in spite of what Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt said after World War II. And here is what somebody said this about the Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, for many years, the German government only authorized arms exports to Turkey sporadically. That now seems to be changing. Is the German government now treating Turkey like any other NATO partner, or are there still restrictions? And he was asked, have you signaled your approval to the Turkish president on the subject of Eurofighters? Joshua Mitchell says Turkey is planning to purchase 40 Eurofighter jets. And a little further down, here's something else. These exports are very controversial since Turkey used German Leopard tanks for military missions in Syria in 2018. So this has been going on for quite a long time. And the German defense electronics manufacturer Hensoldt also has offices and staff in Turkey. Now listen to this, though. It told Reuters that it has been equipping the TB2 with the Argos 2 optical sensor since 2020. Turkey used these drones. He's talking about drones, and he says Turkey used these drones in Syria, and drones in general gave the rebels a key advantage over Assad's troops. Listen to what this says. Those drones in general gave the rebels a key advantage over Assad troops. That was what really concluded this the way it ended. Very interesting indeed. And we need to think about that. This is the way things developed. And it's a very, very dangerous time. Josue goes on to say, after Assad's fall, Scholz stated, "Today we stand with all Assyrians who are full of hope for a free, just, and safe Syria. A political solution to the conflict in Syria is possible with international partners and on the basis of the resolutions of the UN Security Council. Germany will make its contribution." They're going to make more than just a contribution. They're going to be taking over the Middle East. It's going to happen. Germany wants to do that, and they're going to do it. So here, again, going back to one of my comments, in 2012, now this is 12 years ago, in my 2012 article about Syria, I wrote, "America has been too weak to tame Iran and neutralize its allies. But Germany is moving in and filling that power vacuum." America's gone, getting out, and Germany is filling the vacuum. But Germany is moving in and filling that power vacuum. The whole world ought to be watching what Germany is doing in the Middle East. Why isn't the world watching what's really going on? They don't know what's going on in Syria. But this is giving Germany a real power in the Middle East. And they plan on taking over all of it. And we've been prophesying that for a long time. I was telling the world how active Germany was 12 years ago in Syria and over Syria. Now, that is right there in your Bible, and it's prophesied. So I'm just having to give you a few comments here that are critical. And here's another one I want to give you. Germany enjoys great favor in Syria, but it also has the economic means to rebuild Syria's cities. The 1 million plus Syrians who live in Germany would support that rebuilding process. In 2018, Volker Trier, then head of foreign trade at the Association of German Chambers of Industry and Commerce, told NTVDE that German industry was just waiting for the political starting signal. This has been going on for years. That's 2018. And the corporations in Germany all knew about it. They've just been waiting to get over there and help to build up Syria. Only Germany wants more than just economic successes. They want a lot more than that. Here's a quote: "We have repeatedly received cautious inquiries from our member companies about Syria. Once the war is over, the German economy is generally prepared to help with the reconstruction of the country." So, what is happening? Now, Baron Gutenberg, a man who hates Donald Trump, but he is a famous man in Germany, and could be the strong man that's going to come to rule over the Holy Roman Empire. But he said, even when he was defense minister years ago, that he wanted to declare war in Syria. That's how aggressive he is. And he might become the ruler of the coming Holy Roman Empire. I'll just try to get to Psalm 83 here and cover what I can. This is an alliance that has never happened in history that I'm going to talk to you about. here in Psalm 83. Psalm 83 in verse 1. Keep not you silence, O God, hold not your peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, your enemies make a tumult that hate you, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, that is, Israel, and consulted against your hidden ones. It's against Israel and against your sheltered ones, or God's own church. Hidden ones, He protects them because they are spiritual Israel. And then if we go a little further down, verses 4 and 5, notice what it says here. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. What is this about? They want to cut Israel off from being a nation. Even that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Wow, what is this group all about? Well, it's about Germany and 9 moderate Arabs, they would be called. But let me repeat this. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Well, now what does that mean? Going on, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. This clearly states the destructive purposes for which this confederation comes together to utterly destroy Israel. They want to utterly destroy Israel and destroy even the name of Israel. And that's more than just the Jewish state in the Middle East. It's about, 3 nations of Israel that God is pointing to at this time. Our book on the United States and Britain in Prophecy will explain all of that to you. But anyhow, it goes on here. This is something that's never been, it's never happened in our history. And I don't have time to go ahead and get the other nations that are there, but Syria's going to be there, Turkey's going to be there, and Saudi Arabia, and we have an article that we'll send you on Psalm 83, and it will explain it all to you. And this is what they want to do. This is led by Ashur, or he was the father of Assyria, and Assyria, it's modern day Germany, and we've been proving that for years. And of course, it is proven in the United States and Britain in prophecy. So you need to know that. Syrians are Hagarenes in their ancient name, and there's never been such an alliance to attack and totally destroy Israel in history like this. There just never has been there. What has been happening over these years, here's something I wrote about in our August Trumpet issue. Iran is about to lose its influence over Syria and as a result over the whole region. This will dramatically change events around Jerusalem. And of course, Jerusalem had a lot to do with all of this by what they were doing to Hezbollah and other enemies in the Middle East there around Jerusalem. And here's another quote. Israel's recent attacks against Iran's proxies will likely help bring about this prophesied shift within Syria. I wrote this in our September 2012 trumpet. Right now, Bashar al-Assad's Syria is closely allied with Iran. But this prophecy shows that these 2 nations are about to split. This will have a domino effect on other nations. These events will really shake this world and dramatically alter the course of history. Germany is going to soon attack Iran and conquer them, and all these other moderate Arabs are going to gather around them, and they're going to go to attack 3 nations of Israel. That is bloody, aggressive activity and military actions. Syria's civil war has raged for 13 years. Assad, together with Iran and Russia, has inflicted great evil on the Syrian people. Many Syrians really want help from Germany. So this is hurting Russia, It's hurting Iran because they're losing their naval bases in the Mediterranean Sea. They'll be kicked out. And that's being done even now. They're going to be just kicked out. And that's going to hurt a lot. And it's going to really lift Germany. And they're going to begin to be even more aggressive. And you're going to see how they start World War III. That's what they've done every time they've had the Holy Roman Empire. They've tried to get control of the whole world. Until next week, this is Gerald Flurry. Goodbye, friends.
All our literature is available free of charge at no cost or obligation to you. Request The King of the South and How the Syrian Crisis Will End. Order now. The preceding program was a paid presentation of The Key of David, brought to you by the Philadelphia Church of God.